It's the latest generation, years in development. ProPure is the name. I'm announcing our biggest contest ever. And we're looking for people who love freedom and who want to be all in the resistance to tyrants. So you say you want to fight the New World Order. Why, if you were on the radio, if you were Alex Jones, you'd really kick some globalist ass. Well, here's your chance. We're hiring not one, but 2 new reporters whose reports are going to be on the radio, whose reports are going to be on the nightly news, who will even anchor the show. If you're ready, here's your chance to step into my shoes, and I hope you surpass what I've done. 2 winners, $10,000 in prizes, and a shot to be a reporter inside the INFOWARS.com command center. We're looking to hire 1 male reporter and 1 female reporter. And when you win $5,000. Your video gets seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people on YouTube, and you get put into the very front of the running to be hired as a reporter/anchor right here in our operation. Do you have what it takes to be the next Info Warrior? The rules are posted below me here and at INFOWARS.com. This is a big deal. You know, the globalists are expanding their global empire, but at the same time, the people are waking up all over the world. We've expanded our operations in the last year. We've added the nightly news 5 nights a week. We're making more special reports. We're reaching 15 million people every week. In a year, I want that to be 30 million. This is your chance to join the team. I want to see what you can do. But a big hint is this. Can your news piece make the news? Does it get people's attention? Does it educate people? Does it open minds? That's more important than being beautiful or speaking with perfect eloquence as an orator. All of that is important. But we're looking for people that have that magic spark, that fire of liberty in their heart, because I want you to join our team. I want to give you a launch pad so you can really take off and engage the globalist. And if this works, we'll have contests all the time, and we'll continue to build this operation. I'm involved in a talent search, looking for people who have the fires of liberty burning in their hearts and their minds. You've got until April 30th to complete your news report, and then we'll announce the winners 1 week later. Are you going to join the Info War? Do you have what it takes? It's up to you. All serious entries will be posted on INFOWARS.com. So everybody wins. You're getting the message of liberty out, and that's what really matters. But in the final equation, it's not about showing Alex Jones what you got. It's about showing the world and the globalist that no army can stop an idea whose time has come. Join me in the Info War. So you say you want to fight the Info War. You say you want to go head up against the New World Order. You can do a better job than Alex Jones? I know you can. And here's your chance to prove your mettle. Welcome back to this Monday, April 2nd edition of InfoWars Nightly News. Last Friday, we wrote an article that got linked on the Drudge Report, and it also got picked up in literally hundreds of publications. Climate change skeptics are mentally ill and are in need of treatment, I guess re-education. It's not the first time we've heard things like this. We've also seen newspapers call for the arrest of people that don't believe in man-made global warming. We've seen calls for rationing our society. We've seen calls for violence. against people who dare even question. Now, at first, they said that there was absolute consensus by every scientist on Earth that A, global warming was happening, and B, it was man-made. Now they admit that they've basically engaged in a bunch of fraud, but still it's for the betterment of establishing their global government. Now, there's nobody out there who can chronicle all of their dangerous activities like Mark Moreno of ClimateDepot.com, the premier site that chronicles all of this information. And whereas we can laugh at these authoritarians, and sometimes it's funny how openly authoritarian they are, we see it as a joke because we love liberty. Listen, they've got the backing of the power structure, as Mark was pointing out to me here when we were during the break about to come back. And so I want him to elaborate on that, because she isn't just one kook saying this. There's so many examples of governments and academics saying this, that this is the move. They want, quote, green fascism. They've said, well, the public's not listening. We've got to have green fascism. So this is the new authoritarianism. This is the major push by academics, government minions, corrupt corporations. This is the global power grab. They want a global tax. Durbin set that up. And Mark Moreno of ClimateDepot.com is here to break down Professor Carrie Norgaard, who is running around the world saying that we need to basically be locked up. Mark, thanks for coming on short notice on this. This story's gotten a lot of traction. Why is it getting more attention than the hundreds of other professors basically saying the same thing?
Well, this is a lady, she's actually at a big conference in London right now with other sort of globalists discussing global warming and environment, and how they're going to be essentially trying to move us toward a global governance in the world. This is a big major paper that this Carrie Norgaard has presented. And what she's saying is we need to identify the conservatives, that essentially there's something wrong with our brains and that we need treatment. And this is being neatly compared to, obviously, Stalin, who used to accuse his political opponents of being mentally ill. And we don't know exactly what kind of treatment Carrie Norgaard is proposing, but we do know that Professor Lau of New York University is now coming out and talking about human engineering. This was just a paper from a few weeks prior to her paper. And this follows on a book by a guy named Chris Mooney called The Republican Brain, the conservative brain. He's now looking other mainstream global warming guys who are involved with science bodies in Washington, D.C. that are now being politicized. They're looking at our brains and conservative brains and saying there's something wrong here, and they're trying to analyze it. We actually have a new study out saying that conservatism in general is linked to low brain power. This has all been in the last month, Alex, all these new studies coming out. It's as though the left has decided now to formally and officially transition to saying that if you don't agree with them, we're all mental defectives. And that is where this is going. And this isn't hyperbole. This isn't alarmism. We now have academic papers accepted in peer-reviewed journals by professors at major universities, presented at major international conferences. This is a frightening time that we're living in.
And Mark, words cannot describe it. I mean, how bizarre it is. She says it's racism. I know the EU and England are saying climate denial is Holocaust denial, and they just bring race into it. I remember Obama's people saying, if you're not for government Obamacare, you're racist. I remember seeing a bunch of the different hosts on MSNBC, like Chris Matthews and others. And to someone who is sane, it makes no sense, but they're purely trying to punch buttons and behaving like they're God. They sit up on the mountain and they tell us what we can and can't believe. And they're now having the psychological publications come out and say that you're mentally ill if you don't believe in this. They're really trying to set the stage like Stalin did, arresting his detractors and putting them in mental institutions. Do you think this is going to discredit them, or does that matter because they've got the power structure behind them?
No, they do. And we may sit here and laugh at someone like Professor Norgaard, but Al Gore has made very similar accusations that global warming skeptics are likened to anyone who opposed, civil rights in the 1960s for black people. We have, people at Grist Magazine, a major environmental publication, saying that global warming skeptics need Nuremberg-style trials for, quote, the bastards, for us not allowing, quote, solutions to man-made global warming, openly comparing us to Nazis that we need to be persecuted like they did in the Nuremberg trials. We have NASA's lead scientists saying it's crimes against humanity, the idea that we're not fighting global warming. We have RFK Jr., who's come out and said global warming skeptics are traitors and treasonous. And this goes on and on. We have state climatologists who are fired because they don't toe the line on this. We have UN scientists who've resigned in disgust. They do not allow dissent. And we've known that for years. But what the new development here is, and it's really getting creepy. It is much deeper than we can even scratch the surface here. We have people like Professor Stephen Running who've come out and identified the 5 stages of grief, why global warming skeptics don't accept global warming, that essentially we're in the denial stage because it's such an overwhelming problem. We refuse to accept that life as we know it is coming to an end. They've all put on their amateur psychiatric boxes, and they're now going after our brains. And they're now openly advocating human engineering, shrinking us, psychiatric drugs for us. This is what Stephen Lau, professor from SUNY State University of New York, their university, are coming out and proposing psychiatric drugs so that we won't want to eat meat. And now, of course, we have Ms. Professor Norgaard calling for treatment. This is now, I can't even put words on this because the comparisons are so obvious. My headline at Climate Depot has it up there: Nazis, Stalin. I mean, I don't like to throw those historical comparisons around, but there's really nothing short of that is appropriate here.
That's who did it. The communist Chinese, the communist Russians, the Nazis all used the psychiatrist. But let's talk about the nightmare face of tyranny, that face of evil. She is saying, arrest us or put us in a psychiatric facility, and she's very, very proud of herself. But in some of these photos we've seen, I mean, just looking at her, I don't like to get on somebody's looks, but her eyes look like someone that is a stereotypical loon. I mean, I'm sorry. In fact, guys, can you put the photo back up, the big one? I mean, I don't go off a book's cover. No, not that one, the other one. I mean, she let me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even go there.
Yeah, all I can say is people can look at the photo for themselves. She seems very, very proud. Has many photos available of herself on the web. But I don't think that's the issue here. The issue is the fact that she has elected herself the ability to recognize us mental defects, people who don't believe global warming is human caused and a major threat to our planet, and the fact that she thinks we need treatment. Her university, University of Oregon, could not be prouder of her. They issued a breathless press release on this, on her new study. So no, this is just pure excitement.
It's wonderful. People that want to actually have peer-reviewed science and people that don't like forged documents are evil. Put them in a psychiatric facility, and then you show her, and she literally looks like everything you associate with somebody with an IQ below room temperature. I mean, she looks like she's got 100 cats in her house and has never seen a man she doesn't hate. It conjures up images of these women, that make their boys sit on the toilet,
For the record, I'm not saying any of those comments. I don't want to get into her. I'm not getting into her appearance. But I will say this. This is on the heels of the latest developments right now. There's a new study. You probably remember this from Al Gore's. Al Gore's producer, Lori David, did the children's book that showed showed CO2 leading temperature, exactly opposite of what all ice core data has shown. It's actually temperature goes up